All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Q&A live stream number 201. It's approximately 8 a.m., 8 p.m. rather, right here on the East Coast in New Jersey. And today is Monday, November 7th, 2022. Tomorrow is Election Day. Obviously, if you have not yet casted your ballot, highly recommend doing so tomorrow, as that is your last day to vote. But enough about voting. I just need a couple seconds here. We're going to get into some more interesting topics in tonight's live stream. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I want to say that I apologize because I have been incredibly busy with school, and obviously school comes before any of this, and that's just the typical way of doing things. But I am great to be on here. It's a great thing to be on the stream, and so a lot's going on, obviously. Lots of stuff that's going on. The Bergen Town Center Kohl's opened up. I went last Monday. Not a fan, and I think the way that they did the elevator was not to say that it wasn't practical. Obviously, I know that they were cutting corners, but I think they really should have at least installed something a little more, I don't know. I think if they had gone with two Schindler 5500s or 3300s MRLs, I'd be impressed. But knowing Kohl's and knowing their struggles, I know that they would never do something like that, especially where they're standing financially. It's just given, unfortunately. But yeah, that's what's up with that. IKEA's elevators got modernized. I just rode them today in the Paramus store. The only one they didn't touch was the entrance one, which you guys already see on YouTube. But yes, IKEA did modernize their elevators in Paramus. I had someone comment on one of my videos, and I was like, he was like, they modded 2, 3, 6, and 7, and then all of a sudden. So I said, because typically I like to investigate and see what's going on. I happened to go there today, and all of a sudden, yes, it was those exact ones that Schindler did. It wasn't a bad one. They definitely did a nice job refurbishing the cabs. I had wished they'd done it with all of them, but I guess that little entrance one doesn't get enough traffic, and IKEA is okay with just leaving it that way, which is interesting that they would make a decision like that, or they're just waiting for parts to come in to mod that thing. We don't know. We don't know what's happening. Hi, elevators rock on. I love elevators. How are you? Berkshire Mall. Okay, great. I think that's in, where is that? Reading, Pennsylvania, like that area. Not near Hershey, but it's like between like Philadelphia and the Lehigh Valley. I kind of know where that is on a map. Elevators rock on, Mom, and Lawrence plays. How are you? So yeah, that's what's going on. Kohl's and IKEA wise. No really major closings going on right now, other than the Sears shutting down in Burbank and Union Gap. There's something that's going around that they're looking to liquidate assets, but nothing set in stone about that yet. Until we have confirmation that it really is going to be the end of Sears and Kmart, I'm not really going to jump the gun. But yeah, so just again, a lot of stuff's coming up, a lot of stuff's going on. And obviously in about 10 days, I believe, the Primark at Roosevelt Field will be opening up. I'm not going there, obviously, so I don't live 15 minutes away from Roosevelt Field, and to me, it's not worth it to go all the way out there again. I just have no reason to go there, and I was already at Roosevelt Field this summer. I really have no good reason to go out there now, especially now with the holidays inching closer by the day. So yeah. Store closings, I don't think we're going to be seeing any more unless Sears does some sneaky transaction between now and the end of the year, which is quite possible. It's quite possible that Eddie has a few more tricks up his sleeves before the end of the year. But I don't think we're gonna see any. But it's Eddie Lampert. Eddie Lampert doesn't care if it's Christmas or it's any other holiday of the year. If the deal's right for him and he can walk away with most of the money, he will absolutely close that location. I think it's going to be Schindler. I think Primark is probably going to go with Schindler. Kohl's, I think, switched over to Kone, but I mean, you look at Kohl's stores and you kind of get why they had to switch. Basically, what they did with Bergen Town Center was Kohl's called in Kone, and they said, "Listen, we need this elevator. We want to keep this elevator because it's from what 2006. That thing is going to be very bad around the holidays. They really should have kept the bank, or they should have upgraded the bank when Century 21. Yeah, Century 21 had it laid out so smart, but Kohl's decided to cut some corners, and they called in Kone, and I guess it was just cheaper to extend the shaft up to that other floor. Yeah, I typically don't go to yeah, I mean, I try not to go to a mall unless I absolutely have to. But yeah, I mean, I have no plans to go to Roosevelt Field anytime soon. I was already there this summer. And unless Saks craps the bed at Whitman, I won't be going out to Long Island. Or, of course, something else big closes, but there's not too many malls out on Long Island. I think J.C. Penney is with Kone, unless they switched to Schindler recently. I know Macy's and Bloomingdale's are with Schindler. Nordstrom, I guess it varies on the location. Neiman, it varies on the location. Saks is definitely Kone. Hudson's Bay loves Kone. That's just a given. Um, no, I don't necessarily think because it was not multiple floors. I don't think it was because there was no elevator. I think it was because it was a concept that they were going to try and roll out, and it completely failed. It's not necessarily because of how many floors um, the store was. I think it was because it wasn't the same model and concept as like Brooklyn, Hicksville. Like it didn't have that same layout. Because you got to remember, typically when you go into an IKEA store, you are going on an escalator up to the second floor, up to the showroom. Then you're going through the showroom down to the marketplace. But before that, you hit the cafe. So you grab a bite to eat before you go down to the marketplace. Then you hit that little warehouse section that looks like Home Depot, and then you go to self checkout. That's the store model that IKEA goes by. I've only been to two. I haven't been to Elizabeth, but I really want to go back there at some point to the IKEA in Elizabeth. I've been to the IKEA in Elizabeth and the IKEA in Hicksville or Long Island, whatever it is. I can tell you though, I think out of the three, the best one is Paramus. Hands down, that's the best IKEA in the whole area. And they did a very nice job on the elevators with that one, and you guys will definitely see in the video that's going up tomorrow. And there's going to be a couple going up throughout the week because they modded, according to what this person commented. Again, they modded two, which was from the entrance up to the showroom down to the marketplace, and the parking deck ones. The only one that they didn't touch was the one from the entrance to the mezzanine. So yeah, I mean, I think it was just a failed concept, and I think IKEA will be back in Queens. I have no doubt. IKEA is not a it's not a retailer that's necessarily struggling. They'll figure out something. I just think that wasn't the right location for them. Trust me, when there's a big plot of land that's open in Queens and IKEA develops an interest, they will absolutely jump on it. So my phone keeps blowing up for some reason. So, but that's I think that's why IKEA is closing in Rego Park. Maybe. It could have also varied, and there's a lot of factors that factor into that too. I could have also varied if the property was being leased instead of owned by J.C. Penney. Well, they're all similar in concept wise. The IKEA's business model is you get into the store, you go up to the second floor, then you go to the cafe, whatever the hell they have on that second floor. You go down, continue through the store, you hit this big section that looks like Home Depot self checkout, and you grab a snack, you leave. That's basically their model. There's really no other way to explain it. Um, yeah, the Brooklyn one is similar in a way to Paramus. it's similar because they have that kind of first escalator, then that mezzanine, and then they have that second part with the escalator. So Brooklyn and Paramus are two very similar stores. I mean, they were built. One was built later than the other one, but in a sense, both IKEAs are very similar. That's in that red. That's in that. Excuse me. Oh, that's in that Red Hook neighborhood of Brooklyn. See, what would be interesting is if they ever had like a ferry service to network between between the IKEA store in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and the IKEA store in Elizabeth, but it looks like they wouldn't really be able to do that. Although it would be interesting if they did. Then they could really interconnect it and have employees switch between stores. But yes, IKEA in Brooklyn is yeah, IKEA in Brooklyn it has a similar formula. Well, I mean, it's not Primus IKEA, but it's pretty close. I'm not saying it's close enough, but it's pretty close where it has that parking on the lower level, store on the first level, and then a small part of the store on the second level. But yeah, that's basically I don't know. All right, yeah. So you guys basically get it. I mean, it's there's nothing really else to say other than that. So but yeah, so anyways, let's move on from IKEA because I can't keep talking about that. So yeah, no major mall trips at the moment. Um, but if something does get announced, I mean, obviously, I think the next big department store closure, at least in New Jersey, is going to be Sears at Newport Center, and then obviously Kmart in Westwood. Um, whenever they decide to shut that one down. I do apologize. I have to get better lighting in here. But during Christmas, so. Oh, my laptop fan's going off. Let's see here. Oh, my laptop is really acting up right now. You know, I honestly probably have too many tabs open, to be honest. Yeah, I got to close a lot of these tabs. So, no really updates on American Dream. I mean, they're supposed to be putting in a new Saint Laurent and another Gucci two-level store, but that's about it, really. J.C. Penney. There's nothing SP360 is closing right now that's related to pennies. And Hilco, it's the same story over at Hilco. They're not liquidating any J.C. Penney right now, fortunately. But Monmouth just wrapped up liquidation, I think, 2 weeks ago. And then obviously with Sears, they're going to shut down the last couple of stores. So, you know, Pinstrips is supposed to be coming to Westfield Garden State Plaza. I don't know if they're going to open up in time for the holidays. That would be something really interesting to look at. So, J.C. Penney Beauty is starting to replace. Yep. Well, so the Sephora J.C. Penney contract ended, and now they're in Kohl's. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the Kohl's in Paramus. I'm sorry. It was very boring. Like they really didn't do much with the store. It was really I think what Kohl's got out of it was they were able to move out of Paramus Place and across the street to Bergentown Center. It was again just to have that Bergentown Center name. They didn't care how the store looked, nor did they care about. I mean, let me say something about that elevator capacity. That that little rectangular box is I don't even know what to say. Yeah, it's gonna have that handicap lift. It's going where Bar Louie was. So that's nothing to, you know. But where I don't even know where I was going with this. But yeah, Pennies with Brunswick Square. Yeah, that's done. I'm sorry, Sephora. Yes, Sephora's and Kohl's. Oh, I was talking about Kohl's and Paramus. See, I lose my train of thought. So Kohl's and Paramus, it works. It's not as impressive. I think had Kohl's gone with putting the sign all the way on the top, because if you look at the facing facade right now, you can clearly see that Century 21 is still there. Even when I walked through the store, it felt like Century 21. The only thing they really did was they renovated the store. That was about it. Because think about it. They wouldn't have modernized the elevator in Century 21 if they weren't going to extend it. Obviously, Kohl's wanted to come up with a genius strategy, and that was to have one passenger elevator in the store. Not to mention, that thing is tiny. The thing is teeny tiny. You got to remember, you're going to fit maybe what? One family? A family and a half? I'm telling you, they're going to have to install another one. They're not going to have a choice. What they should have done is they should have done. Remember the one I went to many years ago in Kohl's and Linden, and that capacity, that's big enough to fit two families, and that's a decent size. See, now if they had done that with the Paramus store and done like a Schindler MRL to really be environmentally friendly and to have the bigger capacity, see, that's a smart strategy. The problem is Kohl's is not a company where they're thinking about capacity. They're more concerned about brand recognition, location. That's what makes it tough. Yeah, I know about that. I've heard things about Brownstone Pancake Factory. I have yet to try it, but I'm sure it's going to be good in Freehold. I know someone who is excited for Brownstone to have a presence there. They're going in the old Perkins, which I have yet to try that as well. 98. Yeah. Yeah, our Kohl's was across the street. Apparently, what I hear, they're staying open for fixture liquidation at that particular one until like November 12th. But yeah, I think it's an upgrade, but I don't really necessarily think it's, going to make that much of a difference. I do think it sucks for that strip mall because that was a big draw to that strip mall. I do think with the future of that Kohl's space is they're going to subdivide that space. That's a lot of real estate. I don't necessarily think you could throw a furniture store in there. You would maybe medical offices, and that's, the only thing I could think of is if, and this is hypothetical, this would never happen in a million years, if JCPenney was looking to come back to Paramus. Because it wouldn't be the worst spot for one. It's a big enough space for that particular department store. The question is, does JCPenney have the money and the resources to have a store back in Bergen County? And honestly, I don't know if that's a question that I can even answer. Don't get me wrong, it's a very ideal location for a JCPenney, but the problem is you have Bergen Town Center across the street. So does JCPenney invest in that particular location, buy it out just to have that Bergen County presence? Or do they focus on their other stores in the area outside of Bergen County? These are important decisions for a retailer like that to make. Obviously, we know Sears is done. That ship has sailed. All the buildings are up for sale, and once as I've said before, once a retailer decides to buy out a Sears store, that is the end of that particular location. Hi, Oil the Gun. How are you? Hello, elevators and escalators at Marion Vacus. Oh God, I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. I'm not good with those, and it's Myron Vacus. Oh God, sorry, I feel like an idiot. But yeah, so that's where we are with that. Obviously the holidays are coming up. Hi, Cameron Jed, how are you? What else? I don't think there's necessarily any crazy store closings right now. Damn it, I just opened up another tab. Yeah, other than that, there's really just there's a lot of these clickbait ones about closings. An Ashley store closing, Walgreens, CVS. That's just because of a whole abundance of issues, obviously. I think the crazy one was Wawa. Could you imagine 100 juveniles just going into a Wawa thinking that they're above the law, Um, and they just destroy the wall. I mean, you got to feel bad for the employees who are literally giving up time away from their families, and some of them might even have kids. I mean, and then that's what they walk into as they're standing there getting paid to stand there. So it's unfortunate. It is. Oh, my friend Ricky's doing great. I actually just had dinner with him. It was about like an hour ago. So yeah, he's doing well. Thank you for asking. Myron. Okay. The O is silent. Okay. Because it's the I instead of the O. Got it. So I'll just call you Myron. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't exactly good with vowels when I was a kid. Um, how many Sears stores do you think will make it to January? That's a tough one. No, it's okay. I appreciate you for helping me out. Again, I'm just trying to answer everybody's questions. I don't know. I mean, I can't really necessarily predict the magical number. It really depends on what gets sold between now and the end of the year. Yes, they closed in 2018. They closed 4 years ago. I think that, and I think J.C. Penney and Unilever Domco Westfield agreed to part ways. Do you shop at Home Goods or Home Sense? Both, actually. I've been to both. Home Goods is more geared as like middle. Home Sense definitely has a Pure One Imports feel. What Pure One Import used to have. And actually, the desk that I'm streaming or that the desk that I am the desk that I have my computer on right now is from Pure One Imports when they were liquidating in Clifton. It was a couple years ago. So I don't know what they're going to replace Lord and Taylor and Woodbridge with. Will they modernize the Macy's Otis elevator at Roosevelt Field? They just modernized Whitman too. Actually, no, they didn't modernize Whitman. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that before I Hate Escalators gets on here and corrects me. They replaced the motor. The elevator is still the same, but they replaced the motor after 60 years. I can't believe that thing made it to 60 years. That's nuts. That's nuts. But Macy's likes to only replace things when they absolutely have to. Do you shop at Bed Bath and Beyond? Not as much. And yes, I know they're closing one in Paramus, but there's really nothing there for me to get. Plus, it's not a closed Bed Bath and Beyond to me. Is there a video, or is he talking about the escalators? Because now you're confusing the hell out of me. Yes, I know. Yes, it's a pennies next to a pennies. I know that. I don't know. Again, I don't read that news. No, I've seen the trailer for it, but no. Next out. No, I'm not watching that. It's don't get me wrong. I have nothing against Steve, but I'm not familiar with the next generation. It's beyond me. That's all I got to say. So I got to get a new freaking light. More importantly, I got to get better lighting here, and that's just everything. Hi, Jeremy's Retail Exploration. How are you? So yeah, I know. I know who the new host is. Yeah. So all right, guys. I think we're gonna go ahead and end it here. Unfortunately, I just need to kind of relax for a little bit. Thank you guys for watching, and that will be it. See you guys next time.